Hey, how's it going everyone? Raj here, hope you guys are doing well. Today I've got a haul video to share with you. These are fragrances that I've picked up over the last 6 or 7 months. Most of them are kind of within the last month or two. And I went through a long period of actually not buying any fragrances. And I decided to pick up a few. I had finished a few bottles. And there were some vintage fragrances especially that I had my eye on. Most of these are vintage fragrances, a little bit harder to find. If that's not your thing, I know not everybody likes to watch a video and see fragrances that are difficult to buy, like you can't go into your shop. But if you are somebody who is into vintage fragrances, you'll know that there's a lot of quality to be found. And if you're looking in the right places, you can pick up some gems. So, this video is part of a playlist where all of my haul videos, fragrance pickups, acquisitions, or whatever you want to call them, they're all together in a playlist. So kind of like hopefully a convenient way for you guys to look back and see all the fragrances I've picked up over the years. I'll leave a link down below to the description. Let's get into the first one. This is the only fragrance on this list that is not a vintage. It is one that actually did come out quite a long time ago. I picked this one up recently. I went on holiday to Athens in Greece, and at Heathrow stopped by the Chanel counter and picked up the EDT version of Chanel pour Monsieur, which I wore a lot while I was out there. The weather was really, really warm, and this fragrance just smells so incredible. I gotta say, I love this fragrance. Came out in 1955. Henri Robert is the perfumer. It's like a fresh, chypre, citrusy, aromatic scent. It's a little bit green, it's a bit bitter, it's a little bit mossy. Super classy, a little bit powdery. It's got a typical kind of Chanel DNA in there. Not the most longest lasting fragrance, if I'm honest with you, but you really do have to like spray it on clothes, and this will last a little bit longer. Yeah, it's got a sweetness. There's also kind of like a sweet grassiness. This one I really noticed when I was in my hotel room and I had sprayed this on. And I was quite liberal with the amount of sprays that I did. And when I was, out for the day or out for the night, came back to the room and it was like lingering there. You could really smell it. It smelled amazing in the air. Great fragrance. I was tempted also to, or maybe instead of this one, to get the Eau de Parfum, which I also really like, but I just went for that one. Okay, so moving on to the first of a few vintage fragrances, and I was just looking around on eBay. I bought this fragrance actually quite 6 or 7 months ago actually, and then I had a break. And this is vintage Drakkar Noir. Now, I am pretty sure that this is like the first batch, or when it was pretty much first released. On the back here, for those of you who are interested in finding out precisely about vintage fragrances, you probably should look out for things like box design, like bottle design, what it says on the box, who made it. This one says Cospar, not Cosmer, Cospar, Paris, made in France. Parfum Guy Laroche. Now this box is definitely been opened a few times. It was quite delicate to open, and is actually a splash bottle. It was partially used. I thought, I'm just gonna go for it. Check it out. It's a lovely scent. I was a little bit unsure about whether the scent how it would still be, whether it would still last. And I think obviously over time, this is a fragrance that came out in 1982. So being a splash bottle, a lot more air can get into this. It has probably affected the notes a little bit, but I think this fragrance for me is more about the fact that it's quite rare. It still smells fantastic. Pierre, I never know how to pronounce his name. Pierre Wagny, I think is how you say it, is the perfumer behind this. It still retains that kind of fresh, mossy, watery, grassy sweetness in the opening, and does later dry down into something which is still a little bit uplifting, I find, but it does get earthy and very like oak moss, led towards the base. But I found with this fragrance that it did fade on my skin after about 4 or 5 hours. I've heard that with Drakkar Noir it was very, very potent, the original formulation. I've also heard that because a lot of them came in splash bottles, and a lot of people are just like, you know, splashing them all over themselves. That's why Drakkar Noir was kind of known as this powerful scent, because so much was splashed on. Probably a combination between that and the strength. I don't think this has kind of held up over time, and sometimes that does happen. I think what I'll do is actually decant it into a sprayer, so I can spray it on and really get a good feel for it. I have smelled like modern day formulation of Drakkar Noir. I think it's a lot sweeter. I feel like they've added like a vanilla note or something, or maybe that has always been in the formula, but it's not quite coming through in this bottle that I have. Let me know, guys, if you know. Okay, so the next one. This might be potentially the best one in this. I mean, this is a pretty good haul for me, right? But this one might be the best. It came out in 1988. I'm not sure who the perfumer is. Didn't say on Fragrantica. I've been meaning to get my hands on Gucci Nobile for a very, very long time. I have a small miniature, but when I saw this online, I was like, have to have it. One of those. Love the sample, the small one that I have, and what a beautiful box. I like the kind of very vintage retro style here. Scanon is what should be on the back there. The name of I don't know if it's the distributor or the manufacturer, probably. Yeah, who are actually based in Paris. This particular one was made in Germany. What a beauty! I mean, it really. Gucci Nobile is often like mentioned or like referenced as one of the best kind of like aromatic fougères. It's got a citrus edge to it as well. Real shame that this is discontinued. Picked up a partially used bottle. Herbal, soapy, a little bit shaving foam feel in there as well. It's uplifting. It's quite a very classy fragrance. It really is a classy fragrance. It's something that I think has a kind of, it has this kind of similarity to a shaving cream that I use by Palmolive, which is just like their normal standard shaving cream, which has this herbal fresh cut grass kind of soapiness to it. Definitely oak moss. Maybe a touch of herbs, like maybe like a tarragon. I haven't checked the note breakdown, or I can't remember the note breakdown, but it's got that kind of classic Italian gentleman barbershop kind of feel to it. Very lovely fragrance. Very happy to have it, for sure. Do you own this one, guys? Let me know whether you like it or not. Alright, going on to the next one, and another fragrance that I have a miniature. I also have a decant of this one, but when I saw this online, I thought it was a little bit, difficult to kind of pass up. From the house of Balenciaga. This is Balenciaga Pour Homme. I mean, does it get more retro than this? You've got the built-in sprayer. It does really look quite kind of like, you wouldn't see a design like this today. Eau de toilette, Balenciaga, 100 ml bottle. Yeah, also what I really love about older fragrances is when you look at the ingredients list here, it just says, alcohol, fragrance, and water, which is pretty much the 3 things you need in life, I'd say, to survive. Alcohol, fragrance, water, that's it, right? And yeah, distributed by Balenciaga, incorporated in New York, made in France. This is a powerful fragrance. 1990 release. Gerard Anthony is the perfumer. Quite a well-known name, actually. He didn't really create a huge amount, but definitely if you look on Fragrantica at his portfolio, there are some big names in there. I see no reason why a fragrance like this couldn't be re-released by Balenciaga. It's a strange one, actually, because the house is, like, in terms of fashion, nowadays, over the last few years, it's become quite a kind of like hyped up kind of brand. So they should really, if they were smart, create a private line or something like that and try and recreate this scent. It's quite heavy. It's very, very potent. This one spray, like from this, is super potent. Heavy musks, amber. It's got a resinous feel to it. Apparently, there's a oud note in here. Potentially the first. It's debated like this. Is this the first designer, kind of Western designer brand that had oud in it? I can totally believe that. It does have a kind of like a leathery sort of labdanum feel to it as well. It smells a little bit smoky. It's definitely not a scent for everyone. If you like the sort of fresher, lighter, crisper, no, this is not for you. As an alternative though, if you can't get your hands on this, Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan is a more than adequate alternative to this. Possibly even equally as good. But yeah, super pleased to have this in my collection. This fragrance, given that it's a fully unused 100 ml bottle, it might actually last longer than I do on this earth. I can't see myself wearing this every day. And even when I do wear it, I'm not going to spray it too much. Probably will reserve it to cooler weather. So it will last me a long time, that's for sure. Moving on to a fragrance now that I kind of had my eye on a long time ago. For some reason, I just never got it into my collection. I did sample it and really enjoyed it. The bottle went through a change. I don't know if the fragrance went through a reformulation, but it's certainly discontinued now. From the house of Caron, and I'm actually looking to add a bit more to my Caron fragrance collection because I have 3 now. This one is L'Anarchiste, or L'Anarchiste. I don't exactly know how to say it. I mean, is there a more unique bottle design than this? Like some sort of copper pillar stone kind of effect here. It's super cool. I mean, this is, as I said, the bottle went through a change and it looked in the shape-wise like the current Carons. You know, there's a slide lid box, by the way, and comes out like this. I just thought the presentation was kind of nice, actually. Caron L'Anarchiste, the anarchist, or anarchy, kind of a reference to that. By the way, there's a little thing here, a see-through kind of slit where you can see how much you've used, which I actually quite like that. And the cap is like, kind of looks like a hip flask in some ways, don't you think? Just comes off and it's a very small sprayer. I had read like very kind of reviews that were never really in line with what I thought this fragrance was. People were saying it was like shocking and like very unusual and strange. I can kind of see why, but for me it's like a fresh, minty, soapy, like an orange blossom. I think it has like an African orange flower note in here, which is potentially what is giving people like this feeling that it's a bit unusual. It's a freshy fragrance, basically. It's super nice. It's super clean. Reminded me a lot, actually, of Hermès Equipage. I really think there are some similarities here. So this is a real beauty. I love the sort of font here. Quite cool, actually. If you're like a collector, if you like to pick up unusual fragrances, worth looking out for if you can find it, but probably a little bit hard to find, I guess. This one was released in 2000. Richard Fraisse was the perfumer, and he's done a few fragrances for Caron. Good fragrance. Let me know, guys. Again, have you tried it? Alright, so going on to the final 2, both from the house of YSL. And I have mentioned one of these fragrances already on, I think it was my last video, the Sense of the Week video. This is a Kouros flanker, which came out in 2003. Don't know who the perfumer is, but pretty sure it's Pierre Bourdon. He did the original. This one is the Cologne Sport version. Cologne Sport, it's an eau de cologne strength. I got it partially used. No problem buying partially used. The only thing I would say with these types of bottles is that because of the age and because obviously a lot of air will get into this, and also depending on how it's stored, sometimes you run the risk of fragrances turning or certain notes turning. I don't think that has happened with this one, not that I've ever tried it when it first came out. When I did my Sense of the Week video, I said that this had comparisons to a Frederic Malle fragrance, Dante Bras, which I believe is I think it's Maurice Roussel who did that one. Kind of like musky and white musk, as in laundry detergent musks. Crisp floral jasmine in here. Still retains a lot of that Kouros DNA, but very much lightened up. Like, this is, I don't know, I don't want to say like the lightest version in terms of the density of the composition of all the Kouros flankers, because I haven't tried all like the summer versions and all that. But this might be like the most stripped back version of Kouros. Really lovely scent. Again, with the built-in sprayer. Yeah, it feels crisp, but it does have that kind of like sharp lemon and that kind of civety feel to it, which adds, like, it's clean, but it's not the cleanest of fragrance. There's a warmth there in the base, which I actually quite like, and certainly the florals, especially jasmine, being that type of very like indolic floral, can for some people get a little bit too much, but this is really nicely balanced, great fragrance. And going on to what is, I mean, the Gucci and the Balenciaga are pretty special, but this final one is probably maybe for a lot of people, a lot of you guys watching, might be the most special of the bunch. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It is the original Kouros, and I actually got this in like a gift set, which comes in this like box, has this thing around it, like a sort of stretchiness here, which is kind of like unusual. Kouros YSL, that's all it says, and this is the PPR Gucci era, that's what it said on the description, version of the fragrance. So this, I believe, it's always tricky with batch codes and all of that, trying to figure out exactly when something was made, because batch codes repeat and all of that. It's, you know, but I'm pretty sure that this is a when YSL could have sort of changed their took over essentially, or the manufacturing changed and the bottle design changed, there would have been like an overlap in those years, which I think potentially, I want to say 2008 is when it kind of changed the production style, and you know, the silver band or this collar and base was removed. So I don't know whether, what am I trying to say? This potentially is a very vintage formulation. It's not like the current version, but sometimes with the overlap between changing of ownership, it's difficult to say. But look, I sprayed this on today actually, and it had never been sprayed. It was really potent. It was really potent, and it was outstanding. In the air, it smelt brilliant. So I'm gonna say I'm pretty certain that I've got a good formulation. The current version is, this doesn't have, like, there isn't a silver rim to it. You've got the deodorant spray in here. I don't really use like those types of products, so I might actually just use that as a room spray, or like I might use it as a toilet spray. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Kouros has been compared to the scent of like those urinal cakes you find, those, like, I don't know, they're always yellow to me. There is definitely that, but it's a lot more to it. Powerful stuff, really, really powerful stuff. I went through an absolute like palaver to get this. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm pretty certain somebody at Royal Mail has stolen my bottle, because I had to buy this twice. Pretty certain. The bottle had been tampered with when I received the package, had my name on it, had the tracking label on it, but it was not the items that I ordered. The box I received was sent from somebody in Glasgow, completely not linked to my eBay seller, and the items were supposed to be going to somebody who lives nearby me. But there was some tampering that had gone on with the box. I'm pretty sure of that had happened. So yeah, a bit of a Royal Mail just balls things up there. But yeah, really happy to have this fragrance in my collection. I had this fragrance when I was a teenager. I remember very, very, almost like quite vividly, having this bottle in my room. It was probably only the second fragrance I ever owned. The first one being Versace Blue Jeans. And it's quite a strange fragrance to have, I think, for a teenager, maybe. sharp, the sharpest citrus, just cutting through that soapiness in there. It's got a muskiness, it's got an aromatic feel to it. It's got the idea of a kind of like a brisk aftershave slapped onto your face. I actually haven't worn this on skin. I've only done a spray in the air. As I said, I just took delivery of this today. So I'm gonna dive into this one and give you guys my thoughts. But I was kind of excited to kind of share this video. This video should have come out a couple of weeks ago, but anyway. That's my fragrance haul, guys. Let me know, what have you picked up recently? I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you thinking of buying? Have you tried any of these? And yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.